All right, so I am showing you two maps. One map is of climate maps, and the other is a vegetation map. And the reason I'm doing that is because these two are similar. And the reason they're similar is because sometimes the climate determines what can be grown in that area. And in that particular case, you see how and why certain things grow in a particular area. And so, therefore, climate maps tend to line up fairly closely with vegetation maps. Okay, so a climate map shows the climatic characteristics of a region. All right, so characteristics, what we're talking about is what something looks like. Okay, remember, weather is different from climate. Weather is daily, climate is over the long term. So today's weather, or the weatherman, because the weatherman tells us what the weather is like for today. Okay, but a climatologist is a person who studies climate over huge periods of time. Okay, vegetation maps. A natural vegetation map shows what plants grow in areas that have not been altered significantly by human activity. Vegetation is closely tied to climate. All right, so that just reiterates what I just talked to you, but what I'm about to do is I am about to put it in presentation mode. My image will go away, and what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to the climate and the vegetation found in each of those areas in Africa. And the reason I want you to pay attention to this is because you will see this later. And what I mean by you will see this later is, no doubt, you will see a map of Africa when you take the AP test. And I want you to be familiar with all the different parts of the world as possible. Okay, so let's do this now. All right, so notice tropical wet. All right, so that's this area right here. Then you also have tropical wet and dry. That's this area right here. All right, so before I told you about the Serengeti. All right, so the Serengeti, is right along this area. Okay, it stretches from here to here. All right, semi-arid. So semi-arid means not quite all the way a desert, but it's getting there. And you notice, if you look at the color, that's this band right here, right? So in other words, it's that stopgap between the desert and the Serengeti, or the grassland. Okay. So, all right, and then you have the desert. The desert is here. You also have it here, and you also have it here. Okay, you have subtropical dry summer. Now that is very similar to what we have here, where we live. So you will find that right here, in Cape Town, and then you also have it all the way up here in Casablanca, Algiers, Tunis. All right, and that is the closest areas to Spain. You'll also find that there's some relationship between European countries and the northern part of Africa. Now, humid subtropical. You also so that's this light green, very light. Yeah, well, okay. Is it this? It doesn't look right. Is that this? I don't know. I might need glasses. Can't see. All right. So humid, oceanic. That's this right here. Now this is similar to California. California has this weather, all right? So it feels really good during the day. Not all the way hot. Feels warm though. Not all the way hot. You can see the sun, but at night it gets really cold. Okay. And then you have your highlands. So your highlands, I want you to think of your highlands as mountains. They're not quite mountains, but they're really, really close. All right. And you find that right over here. All right. Now you look here. This is vegetation. This is desert, semi-desert. This is the steppe that I was telling you all about. This is also where you find your the Serengeti. But it kind of bleeds over into the savanna grasslands. So all of this, the yellow and the light green, all of that is your Serengeti. Next, you have the deciduous forest, and then you have the tropical forest. Now, the deciduous forest, so that's where it's still forest, but the trees look a little different. So in the green part, the dark green part, that's where the trees, the leaves from the trees are really wide. They're as wide as a human is tall. Right? So that's what type of leaves you're talking about having. But the trees here are the same type of trees that we have where we live. Okay. Then you have marine forest. That's here and here. It just rains a lot. And this blue, that's East Africa. Yeah, can't really read that. Then right here you have your Mediterranean evergreen forest. So Mediterranean is very similar in what it's like. That's a lot like California. Warm during the day, really sunny, but it gets really, really cold, really, really fast, especially at night. Okay. I can't read that. All right.